The Brothers Karamazov, Book 7, Chapter 4. Alyosha returns to the monastery just before 9 p.m. and the gates are being locked. He goes in and sees old Father Paisi reading the Gospel of John and one not so devoted seminarian already tuckered out and fallen asleep by 9 p.m., bringing to mind the Garden of Yosemite scene when the faithless disciples can't stay awake and pray with Jesus the night before he's crucified. Anyway, here comes Alyosha, and he kind of is in the same boat. He really wants to hear the gospel reading. He wants to be by the body of dear Zosima, but he's also a little bit sleepy. And so he's tuning in and out, and so there's a dreamlike quality even in the narration. It's a very stream of consciousness kind of feel in the writing. And Dostoevsky tries to make it feel like when you are going between consciousness and sleep. And so in real life, the miracle of Jesus turning water into wine, Jesus' first miracle, is being read from the Gospel of John. But simultaneously, while Alyosha is hearing that with one ear, with the other ear, he's fallen asleep and he's having a vision that is mixing the two things. The experiences he's had with Zosima and the scriptural story. So in his dreamlike ear, Alyosha is hearing Zosima speak to him at the wedding reception, saying it's okay to look at Christ. He doesn't even call him Christ, calls him our son. He's terrifying, but he's also merciful. It's okay to look, and Alyosha doesn't want to look. And Zosima continues to encourage Alyosha to leave, to continue the good work he's already done, and he brings an allusion back to the previous chapter and says, you've already given a woman an onion today, and to continue that work. And so what he means by that is, of course, you have started the work of redemption in Grushenka's life through active love, and continue to do that. Then Alyosha sort of tunes back into the actual gospel reading, so it seems like he was awake, fell asleep, and then awoke again, and understands that the passage is exactly what Zosima always taught, that in maybe classic magisterial Reformation theology, Martin Luther talked about a theology of the cross, and that emphasis that Jesus not only went to a cross at the end of his life, but he was coming more and more under the shadow of the cross for his entire ministry. And he even taught his disciples that how can you expect to be treated how can pupils expect to be treated better than their masters? If I have a cross to bear, then certainly you all will. The expectation for Christian discipleship will be one of cross-bearing. And Zosima sort of ruffled the feathers and pointed out that Jesus didn't spend his entire life hanging on a cross. That seeing the life of Christ through a cruciform lens isn't always correct. In the end, he pointed to this miracle. At least we know that now in hindsight, that Zosima pointed to this miracle, that Jesus came to poor people to give them joy. He didn't come for his first miracle and talk about sin or cleanse a leper, symbolic of sin. He didn't overturn money changers. No, Christ's first miracle was to bring joy in the form of wine, and we knew that people are poor because they were hosting a wedding and they couldn't afford enough wine. And so Christ is not always Christ on a cross. There's also joy in this world. It's not all innocent people suffering. It's not all corpses stinking. It's not all fights between your brothers. It's not all drunkenness, guilt, shame, hiding, lying, acting like you're too good for poetry in Smirniakov's case. That's not the sum totality of life. That one thing Christ came to bring was joy. And so Alyosha remembers that, and his heart is moved with joy. And so now he's got to go outside with this sort of this transcendent rebirth type of feeling. It's natural to go outside, and Dostoevsky writes in a way that as Alyosha is inside, hearing the scriptures read and over the corpse of Zosima, goes back and forth between a dream state and a awake state, and the two kind of mingle with each other. And that is continued now as Alyosha walks outside, and the heavens and the constellation and the transcendent celestial bodies seem to be so close to Earth. And so it seems like there's this interplay between heaven and earth, and sort of mirroring the death of his father Zosima Alyosha at such a moment of rapture and glory. He also waters the earth with his tears. He also embraces the earth and goes down to hug and embrace life, to go out into the world and to be courageous for the truth, for love, and for joy. And he comes up a new man, and he always will look back on this experience and know that he went down, and that a soul came into him, and he rose a new man. Now, of course, this somewhat vague statement has caused some critics, some professional readers of Dostoevsky, different interpretations. Some believe that it is the spirit of Zosima that has left Zosima and now is somehow embodied mystically within Alyosha. Some people say, no, this is more of an Orthodox Christian statement that Dostoevsky is making, that there's some sort of a spiritual awakening in Christ. I just can't help, maybe it's a product of my age or my time period, but I just can't help but think of when Master Yoda dies, and now Luke Skywalker is his training as a Jedi isn't complete, but yet that death of Yoda sort of empowers him to do the work out in the world to slay the Empire. And that's kind of what I think, that the Zosima, or that's how I picture this, that Zosima is this Master Yoda figure, and Alyosha might not be completely ready as a Luke Skywalker, but he's got enough to go do battle with the forces of evil. And so I think that in both inside and outside in this little chapter, the same thing is going on. There's this collapsing of heaven and earth. So that kind of has this transcendent feel, that even earth can be holy and special and rapturous sometimes. But also it has this imminent feel that heaven can come down here sometimes, and it can be a beautiful thing, and can empower the Christian to remember the core of their faith, that Christ is about joy and truth and love. And so Alyosha rejoices at the glance of Grushenka, the words of Grushenka in the previous chapter, and now the gospel mixed with memories of Zosima's teaching of the gospel, in that this world and this life and this earth are beautiful and are a cause of great joy. And he literally embraces this earth and all of the joys therein.